This young wizard knows he is facing death. His breathing is ragged, and his wand hand trembles, but his eyes burn with resolve. Inferi, the cursed dead, lurk just beneath the water's surface, their dead hands ready to drag down anyone who disturbs the darkness. He is Regulus Arcturus Black, a Death Eater about to betray Lord Voldemort himself. At this moment, Regulus is no longer the obedient servant he once was. He raises a locket toward the dim light, heart pounding, determined to ensure the Dark Lord can finally be defeated. This is the unheralded story of the Death Eater who defied Voldemort. Regulus Arcturus Black was born into one of the most infamous pure-blood families in Wizarding Britain. The House of Black prided itself on its motto, toujours pur, always pure. Growing up at 12 Grimmauld Place, Regulus was immersed in his family's elitist values and the shadow of a rebellious older brother, Sirius Black. Sirius despised the family's pure-blood mania and clashed repeatedly with their parents. By contrast, Regulus strove to be the better son, upholding the Black family honor as his parents expected. In Sirius's bedroom, Gryffindor banners defiantly proclaimed his difference from his Slytherin lineage. But in Regulus's room, emerald and silver draped the walls, and the Black family crest above his bed proudly bore the words, toujours pur, always pure. Regulus embraced the very ideology his brother denounced. Pressure mounted when Sirius ran away from home at age 16, effectively renouncing the Black family values. Sirius's desertion scandalized his parents, who blasted his name off the family tapestry in disgrace. This left Regulus alone with Orion and Wahlburger Black, who heaped all their expectations onto their younger son. In this hostile home environment, Regulus became the sole torchbearer of the Black legacy. He was younger than me, Sirius later admitted, and a much better son, as I was constantly reminded. Staying in his parents' good graces meant aligning with their worldview, a worldview that increasingly centered on one rising dark wizard who promised to restore pure-blood supremacy. From a young age, Regulus was drawn into the orbit of Lord Voldemort's ideology. In his teenage years, he avidly followed news of Voldemort's activities. When Harry, Ron and Hermione later examined Regulus's childhood bedroom, they found a ragged collage of newspaper clippings about Voldemort on the wall. "They're all about Voldemort," Hermione observed. "Regulus seems to have been a fan for a few years before he joined the Death Eaters." This chilling collection revealed how deeply Regulus idolized the Dark Lord's cause during his school days. He was not only a product of an old, pure-blood family, but also a true believer, at least at first, in Voldemort's vision of wizarding society. It came as little surprise when Regulus pledged himself to Lord Voldemort. Likely while still in his late teens, he took the dark mark and officially became a Death Eater. He joined up when he was really young, Harry later explained of Regulus, recalling Sirius's words. To Regulus's parents, this would have been a moment of pride, their heir stepping forward to serve the great pure-blood crusader. Regulus, for his part, seemed eager to prove his loyalty and worth. He had striven to emphasize his devotion to the family's values and Voldemort's ideology. In Voldemort, Regulus saw a leader who could fulfill the Blacks' long-held beliefs about blood purity. By the late 1970s, the First Wizarding War was raging. Death Eaters wrought terror across Britain, and Voldemort's power was nearing its height. Regulus was just a teenager caught in this dark tide, an idiot in Sirius's harsh view. Soft enough to believe their parents' creed and Voldemort's lies. At first, Regulus likely carried out his Death Eater duties faithfully, doing whatever was asked to please the Dark Lord. But in the shadows of Voldemort's service, the young Black heir was about to face a test of loyalty that would change everything. Beneath the black robes and skull mask, Regulus still had a conscience, and it was about to be shaken awake. Regulus's growing doubts began with a single cruel incident. In 1979, Voldemort informed his followers that he required a house elf for a special task. Seeing an opportunity to impress his master, Regulus volunteered the Black family's devoted elf, Creature for the job. Creature was ordered by Voldemort to accompany him to a seaside cave. There, the Dark Lord revealed a hidden chamber protected by a basin of poison. He forced Creature to drink a burning potion that caused the elf excruciating pain and hallucinations. Voldemort then left Creature alone, abandoned to die of thirst among an army of Inferi lurking in the underground lake. This was no mission of glory. Creature had been used as disposable bait to test the cave's deadly defenses. Unbeknownst to Voldemort, Creature survived by a twist of magic and loyalty. House elves possessed their own powerful magic, and Creature was bound by Regulus's order to return home when the task was done. Despite the Inferi dragging him beneath the dark water, the elf escaped the cave by apparating back to Grimmauld Place, following, quite literally, Master Regulus's command to come back. He returned, shivering and traumatized, but alive, clutching horrifying secrets. Creature told Regulus everything: the cave, the cursed potion that burned like fire, the heavy locket Voldemort had hidden in the basin, and the horde of Inferi waiting to drown intruders. Hearing Creature's account was a moment of reckoning for Regulus. The brother who had idolized Voldemort was suddenly confronted with the Dark Lord's true cruelty. Voldemort had callously left a loyal servant, Regulus's own house elf, to die in agony. This betrayal of the most basic trust shook Regulus to his core. He had never been hardened to such merciless evil. Perhaps for the first time, Regulus saw the inhumane lengths Voldemort would go to achieve his ends. The blinders of ideology fell away, replaced by horror and regret. In Creature's trembling words and burns, Regulus found the truth about the master he served. More revelations followed. Creature could describe the object Voldemort had hidden, a locket bearing Salazar Slytherin's mark. Regulus was intelligent and keenly versed in dark magic lore. He realized this locket was no mere trinket. Somehow, Regulus deduced that the locket was a Horcrux, a vessel containing a fragment of Voldemort's soul. This secret explained Voldemort's terrifying resilience. As long as such Horcruxes existed, the Dark Lord could not truly die. We may never know exactly how Regulus pieced it together, perhaps through research or intuition. But one night he came to Creature, not as he usually was, and disturbed in his mind. Regulus had discovered Voldemort's darkest secret, and it filled him with dread. The young Death Eater realized his master was not just a monster, but an immortal monster who had violated nature itself to safeguard his life. Regulus Arcturus Black was now faced with a grave decision. He was a Death Eater who knew Voldemort's secret of immortality. He also knew that his dark mark bound him to a ruthless master who would kill to keep that secret. But Regulus's conscience had awoken, and the fate of his world hung in the balance. Alone and deeply afraid, the 18-year-old Regulus decided to do the unthinkable. He would destroy Voldemort's Horcrux, even if it meant sacrificing his life. Regulus prepared for his secret mission. He confided in no one except Creature. Under the cover of darkness, the young Black Heir and the devoted elf returned to the infernal cave. Regulus had armed himself with a replica locket, a decoy, and inside it he placed a handwritten note addressed to Voldemort. This note would be Regulus's only proclamation of defiance, to be discovered by Voldemort far too late. It read, "To the Dark Lord, I know I will be dead long before you read this, but I want you to know that it was I who discovered your secret. I have stolen the real Horcrux and intend to destroy it as soon as I can. I face death in the hope that when you meet your match, you will be mortal once more. R.A.B." With these words, Regulus signed his own death sentence. In exchange, he hoped to strip Voldemort of his invincibility when he meets his match. The stage was set for Regulus's final act of rebellion. Inside the cave's dark chamber, Regulus and Creature approached the same stone basin of poison. Regulus knew what he had to do. He would not allow Creature to suffer again as Voldemort's guinea pig. Steeling himself, Regulus lifted the basin's shell to his own lips and drank the burning potion himself, rather than let Creature endure it again. The potion's effects were immediate and agonizing. Waves of liquid fire coursed through his body, delirium and pain overwhelming him. Yet Regulus persisted, gulp after torturous gulp, until the basin was drained. Gasping and weakened, Regulus used his remaining strength to swap Voldemort's locket for the fake one containing his note. He thrust the real Slytherin's locket into Creature's hands. Voice shaking, Regulus gave his final orders to his beloved elf. Take the locket and destroy it, and never tell my family what I did. Creature began to wail in protest, realizing that his master did not intend to leave the cave. But Regulus was resolute. In that moment, he was no longer Voldemort's servant or the Black family's heir. He was a young man laying down his life to right a terrible wrong. As Creature obeyed the command to go, the cave's dread guardians arose. The Inferi sensed living prey and began to swarm. In his last living moments, Regulus Black was dragged beneath the cold surface of the lake by the Inferi's hands, clutching at him from the depths. The dark water closed above his head, and he disappeared among the dead. Regulus Arcturus Black, once a proud Death Eater, died alone in the darkness, dragged to his death by the Inferi after fulfilling his mission. He was only 18, and no one but a house elf bore witness to his sacrifice. Creature escaped the inferno at his master's desperate insistence. Heartbroken, the elf apparated back to Grimmauld Place with the real Horcrux locket clutched to his chest. Regulus's final instructions echoed in Creature's mind: destroy the locket and tell no one of his fate. For years afterward, Creature tried and failed to destroy the evil object, punishing himself for his inability to carry out his master's last order. Regulus's secret died with him in that cave. Or so it seemed. In the aftermath, Regulus's disappearance was shrouded in mystery. To outside observers, it was as if R.A.B. had simply vanished. Voldemort never discovered who stole his Horcrux at the time. He likely presumed the locket to be safe, since no alarm was raised. Within the Death Eaters, rumors may have spread that Regulus Black was dead, but few knew the truth of how or why. Creature, bound by Regulus's order, told no one. Not even Regulus's family learned of his heroic last stand. Walburga and Orion Black only knew that their perfect son was gone, presumably another casualty of the violence engulfing the wizarding world. Sirius Black, fighting on the opposite side of the war as a member of the Order of the Phoenix, eventually heard that his brother was dead. But without the true story, Sirius believed a far more grim tale. According to what Sirius later told Harry, Regulus had got cold feet and tried to leave, so they killed him. In Sirius's eyes, his brother's death was pointless, the act of a frightened boy in over his head with Voldemort's cronies. Sirius even referred to Regulus as a stupid idiot for joining the Death Eaters in the first place. He died, Sirius assumed, because no one leaves the Dark Lord's service alive. This bitter narrative was all Sirius ever knew. He never learned that Regulus's cold feet were in fact courage of the highest order, that Regulus hadn't simply tried to desert, but had deliberately struck a blow against Voldemort. For almost 2 decades, Regulus Black's name was seldom mentioned in the wizarding world. To the few who remembered him, he was just another Death Eater who met a dishonorable end. There were no rumors of his change of heart, no songs of his bravery. Regulus's sacrifice remained buried in obscurity, the very definition of an unsung hero. Only Creature kept the flame of his memory alive, quietly preserving the locket and waiting for a chance to fulfill his master's last command. Regulus's courageous act bore fruit many years later. The locket Horcrux, which he gave his life to obtain, became a critical key to Voldemort's ultimate defeat. In 1998, during Voldemort's second rise to power, Harry Potter and his friends uncovered Regulus's secret. They retrieved Slytherin's locket from the hiding place where Kreacher had stashed it and finally destroyed the Horcrux that Regulus had stolen. In doing so, they fulfilled Regulus's dying hope, ensuring Voldemort would be mortal once more when at last he met his match. The Dark Lord would indeed meet his match in Harry Potter, and thanks in part to Regulus, no Horcrux would save Voldemort from his fate. Although Regulus did not live to see it, his defiance weakened Voldemort and helped bring about the Dark Lord's first downfall in 1981. Recognition for Regulus's deed came only in small, poignant ways. In the Battle of Hogwarts, as the castle defenders made their last stand against Voldemort's forces, Kreacher, the house elf, emerged to lead the charge of the house elves. Kreacher wore Regulus's locket gleaming on his chest, and with unexpected ferocity, he rallied his fellow elves.
Fight! Fight for my master, defender of house elves! Fight the Dark Lord in the name of brave Regulus! Fight!
At long last, someone shouted Regulus Black's name in honor on the battlefield, declaring him brave for all to hear. Kreacher's bullfrog voice echoed with pride and pain, exalting the young master who had shown kindness to him and given his life to strike at Voldemort. In that triumphant moment, Regulus was not forgotten. When the truth about RAB came to light, Harry Potter was among the first to understand Regulus's heroism. Harry never met Regulus in life, but he came to admire the choice Sirius's brother had made. Regulus Black died an unexpected hero, a Death Eater who found the courage to act against Voldemort when it truly counted. As one retrospective noted, had Sirius only known, we imagine he would have been so proud of his brave brother. Sirius, tragically, did not live to learn of Regulus's redemption, but readers know now what Sirius never did. That Regulus Black's final act was one of extraordinary bravery and selflessness. In the end, Regulus Arcturus Black's legacy is a haunting reminder that not all heroes receive glory. He was a Slytherin who showed that cunning and resourcefulness can be used for good, and a Death Eater who turned against darkness out of love and conscience. His sacrifice was performed in secrecy, without accolades or thanks, and for many years without even acknowledgement. Yet, as Dumbledore wisely said, it is our choices that show who we truly are. Regulus chose to forsake evil at the cost of his life, in hopes of restoring balance to the world. In doing so, his is one of the most unlikely, yet noblest sacrifices in the entire Harry Potter saga. Regulus Black was misunderstood and overlooked by the very society he died to protect. He had been raised to believe in pure-blood superiority and followed a dark path. But at the crucial moment, he found the strength to do what was right. No statues bear his name, and few toast his memory, yet the ripple effect of his courage helped bring down the greatest dark wizard of all time. Regulus's story is a tale of redemption and the powerful impact of unsung heroes, those who act not for glory, but because their conscience demands it. In sacrificing himself, Regulus proved that even in Voldemort's ranks, light can emerge from darkness. His brave deed lived on in a locket, a house elf's rallying cry, and the mortal fall of the Dark Lord.